Evocative questions focus on the process of how you're experiencing, not the content. So I would say to you, Tim, what happens to you when you sit and do interviews with crazy people like Dr. Sue Johnson? And she tells you stories that have you move into your own softer feelings. What is that like for you, Tim? And you might say, oh, I don't know. I say, well, what happens in your body, Tim? Can you tell me a moment when you felt that rush of emotion? You say, oh, well, it was when you said this. Oh, so that's the trigger. Mm-hmm. And I'll help you put your emotions together with evocative questions and reflections. And I'll say, so when you heard me say this, that was important for you, that stood out, and you started to feel a lot of feelings. Can you help me? What happened in your body? Say, oh, well, I felt this tightness across my chest, and I felt like I wanted to cry. I said, And then what did you say to yourself? I said to myself, my goodness, that's just how I felt when I remember feeling that way when I was 3 years old. And I say, I understand. So I'll reflect it again. I'll hold it for you. I'll specify it. I'll ask evocative questions. I'll get you to stay with the experience. And then I'll say, what do you want to do when you feel that way? And you might say, I want to stop it. I want to get out. I don't want to feel any more of that right now. I want to shut it down. I want to stop the feeling. Say, okay, so you want to run, yeah? And we've put your emotion together in a safe, specific, safe way. People can deal with emotions that when they make sense, when they're acceptable, when there's another human being there accepting them, and when they're made specific. We can't deal with big, vague, huge, overwhelming problems. We just want to run away from them. So I'll use evocative questions. I'll use reflections. I'll use repetition to help you stay with that feeling. I'll use an image. You know, if you said to me, there's fire across, I can remember one client said, it's like walking into a fire. When you ask me to turn and open up to him, I can tell you that I'm afraid. I can look into your face and tell you, because you're just a silly therapist. You don't matter to me much. Actually, that's what I said. I said, that's because I'm just a silly therapist and I don't matter to you much. And she said, yes, that's right. So I said, so I can tell you about my fear. But when you ask me to turn and tell him about my fear, you're asking me to walk into a fire. And I knew that this lady, she was a trucker. There was an accident in front of her truck, and she'd got out of her truck and she'd walked into flames to pull out the trucker who was trapped underneath the truck in front of her. I realized that this is an enormously powerful image. And if I want her to move more into it, if she can handle it, if she can't handle it, I'll stop. But if I want her to move more into it and I think she can handle it, I'll say, let's stay with that image. It's like fire. Fire burns. Fire is terrifying. You're telling your partner, it's too hard for me. I can't do this right now. It's too hard. It's like walking through fire to turn and open up to you. I just can't do it. And she says, yes, that's right. I say, good, tell him that. And then I'll clarify the emotional music, help her with it, help her accept it. And then I'll help her move this into a drama with another person. And by the way, when we do individual therapy, we've just started to really teach EFIT, which is emotionally focused individual therapy. There's a book coming out next month, September, on that. When we do individual therapy, we still do this, but we use the representations inside people's heads. So you have a cast of characters inside your head. So do I. I'm very thankful. My main attachment figure when I was a child was my father. And I'm very aware that all through my adult life, especially through moments of failure, moments of joy, key moments, I can hear my father's voice. My father's still a reality for me, right? I carry him inside of me. And that's what we do with our loved ones. And we talk to them and we have these dramas with them. So if I'm doing individual therapy, I might use these same reflections and evocative questions. Instead, I'll say, you planned every interaction with your mother You planned it for hours. You planned how to go and ask her for a hug. You planned, right? Right. So can you see that little girl who always got smacked and taken back to her room and left in the dark? Can you see that little girl sitting on the bed by herself? What would you want to say to her? What would you like to have been able to say to your mum? And she says something like, I tried so hard, Mum, I tried so hard, but I could never reach you. Was it really my fault? Was I really such a bad little girl? I just think you weren't a mum. You weren't a mum to me. Say, good. What does it feel to say that? She says, that feels different. I've never said that before to myself. I've always said, I didn't plan enough. I wasn't a good enough little girl. I said, aha. So can you say that again? Can you see your mum? What does your mum look like in the chair? Close your eyes. She closes her eyes. She says, yes, I see her. I say, oh, what do you see on her face? She says, she tells me she's tired. She doesn't have time. She's tired and she's working 3 jobs. And, I should just be quiet and go to bed and stop my grizzling, that's what she's telling me. Aha. And what do you want to say to her? I want to tell her, Mum, that's not fair. That's not fair. I'm just little. And I can never reach for you. I can never reach for you. You're not a mum. You're not a good mum to me. I need a mum. And I say, how do you feel about that? She says, I feel fine. That feels good. That feels different. And then she emails me after the session and says, Sue, the sessions with you are hard. So I don't understand why I sing all the way home. And it's because she moves in the session. She moves out of her obsessions, addictions with not eating, addictions for planning, anxiety. She moves. And so she gets exhilarated because she starts to feel more whole as a human being. Some of the cliches we have about love are really awful, misinformation. But one of the cliches that's really true, and that this is true in most religions, is that when we're loved, we grow and expand. We grow, we find more resources inside ourselves, we find more strength inside ourselves, we're better at problem solving. When we're safe and secure and we feel we matter to others and that they have our back, our potential and our resources come out.